Minasan, konnichiwa, Sherlock desu, and welcome to another episode of Sherlock Investigates Japan. When I am teaching sword, I often talk about the rules of the samurai. In particular, a samurai must always wear their sword on their left side. Then I always get the same question. What about left-handed samurai? Do they wear their swords on the other side? Simple answer is no. Samurai were not allowed to wear their swords on the other side. Anyone lucky enough to be born left-handed must learn to become right-handed. This was an absolute rule. Samurai lived and died by these extremely strict rules. With around 10% of the entire population of Japan being samurai, these strict rules were incredibly important for helping to control a heavily armed population. Many of these rules still have an effect on Japanese society today. But of course, as with all rules, there are always exceptions. Many people who were born left-handed did learn to become completely right-handed, and they lived their life as such. But a select few would turn this perceived disadvantage into their own advantage. Although in public they did learn to become completely right-handed, in secret they practiced left-handed skills as well. It had to be a secret, because if, for example, a samurai were to wear their sword on their right side openly and publicly, ready to be drawn with their left hand, it would be seen as a betrayal, a breach of their precious rules. Now for this, a samurai could be executed. So as long as the samurai followed the rules in public, in secret, they were able to train these new skills. Being able to draw their katana with either hand, change their grip and their posture in combat, could give a great advantage to the samurai over their opponent. To master these skills for the samurai was not only dangerous because of their rules, it was also difficult. There was no formal training for a samurai to learn left-handed swordsmanship, so it had to be entirely self-taught. Now, most of samurai society was built around being right-handed. Even the grip of the katana, the scar, was designed for a right-handed grip. Now, the wrapping on the scar, skaito, is very comfortable for a right-handed grip. It is wrapped in such a way, though, that if I swap to a left-handed grip, things become difficult. Now, the wrapping is designed to line up in such a way. The skaito lines up with the grip of my fingers here. But swapping to a left-handed grip, I have to adjust, otherwise it doesn't line up. Although this is not really a big problem by itself, these sorts of issues can mount up. And in life or death combat, that makes a big difference. Even in modern weapons, design, comfort, and ergonomics for the user is very important. Using a weapon contrary in the way to which it was designed can cause a lot of problems. This is the same with the samurai's katana. In fact, most densho were written from the point of view of a right-handed practitioner. A left-handed practitioner would have to remember this and adjust their training for their left-handed techniques. Although it's not all disadvantages, there are plenty of reasons why it was actually a good thing for a samurai to have been born left-handed, even if it was forbidden by society. Many of the advantages simply come from the basics of kenjutsu. The main guiding and controlling hand is actually the left. The angle and motion of the cut is controlled mostly from the left hand. This is a natural advantage for the lefties, as they would have greater finesse already. Another advantage for the left-handed samurai would be being able to surprise their opponent by changing not only their grip, but also their kamae, their motions, and even the angle of the cut. The ability to change this tactic at will can be the perfect way to catch their opponent off guard with unorthodox or unusual strategies. Yes, the honourable samurai absolutely would and did use these sorts of unorthodox strategies. Much like the myth of there being absolutely no left-handed samurai, the modern view of samurai honour and the code of Bushido is often misled. Throughout samurai history, but particularly during the Sengoku Jidai, the age of the country at war, honour for the samurai was victory for their lord. If the samurai were defeated in battle, there could be no victory for their lord, and therefore no honour for their lord and no honour for the samurai. So to secure victory for their lord and for their honour, and let's face it, for basic human desire to survive, a samurai would use these unorthodox strategies and tactics in not just their combat, but on the battlefield as well. And here comes the controversial bit. These unorthodox strategies and tactics could also be called ninjutsu. But that is a subject for another video. Unlike the ninja, however, samurai history was very clearly recorded. So there are actually some documents that talk about left-handed samurai, their techniques and their training styles as well. Perhaps one of the most famous of samurai, who is rumoured to have been born left-handed, is none other than the legendary samurai and ronin Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi is of course particularly famous for his use of unorthodox strategies and tactics to win many of his duels and battles. There is a lot of speculation and rumour as to which of the famous samurai truly were left-handed or not, or even how left-handed sword techniques would have been practiced, trained, or passed down from one generation to the next. But much like today, a large number of the population will have been born left-handed. So there is a good chance that some of these famous samurai, yes, they will have been born left-handed. But because of the society and culture of the samurai, many will have become purely right-handed. So was there such a thing as a left-handed samurai? Publicly, no. But in secret, through stoic samurai dedication and determination, they created their own secret weapon. There were a select few elite samurai who would turn a perceived disadvantage into a great advantage for themselves. As always, thank you so much for watching. 皆さん見てくれてありがとうございました。後で会いましょう。I often teach about these... We're off to a flying start. They would...大丈夫？
はい。
The angle and motion of the cut... Come here. Hey, serious.何がそんなに面白いの？
くしゃみが止まった。
Okay, okay.
大丈夫。
That's not your system, is it? Did use these sorts of unorthodox. They're samurai. It's exactly the take I wanted.
You're flying. Flowing.
Flying.
Flying. Cut.
Wait this.